All right, we've got another confrontation. This one with a college professor who was making excuses for the terrorists. Now, you hear this from the intellectual crowd a lot. Oh, it's not that simple over there, and you're just taking one little snapshot in time. But if you actually look at the entire occupation and colonialism for the last 75 years, then you need to contextualize it. And honestly, you need to have an advanced degree or even a doctorate to be that morally stupid to try to equivocate murder, rape, decapitation, burning alive, and kidnapping. But apparently this person does have that advanced degree. Here is a great confrontation from a young man who had had enough. And this is great stuff. I'm going to let it play uninterrupted for quite some time.
I'm not. As I tried to explain.
There's no explaining. Will you condemn terrorism? You're a professor here and you won't do it.
Okay, but I'm
Do you think the Hamas attack was terrorism to begin with?
What's that?
Do you think the Hamas attack was terrorism to begin with? I mean,
Like.
Now, this is a really important. I said I wasn't going to interrupt it, but this is critically important. The first question to this professor, and look at her. I mean, is that not? We know who she voted for. We know who she votes for every election, don't we? We know exactly who she is. College professor. She was first asked, will you condemn terrorism? And she's trying to say, it's not that simple. And then the second person asked, will you at least acknowledge that the attack was terrorism? To remind you what the attack was. Innocent families and children watching a music festival were brutally slaughtered. And she can't call it terrorism.
I think that there's.
how do you define?
Look, as something that's in the,
Is that a freedom?
something that's in the Jewish Force of Peace statement about this that has really resonated with me is that reality all begins on when you start the clock, right? And so if you start the clock on Saturday, reality is going to look one way. If you start the clock, in like the weeks prior, it's going to sound a different way.
You're trying to justify terrorism.
If you start the clock, in 1948, it looks a different way. And so it's like, so at first, it's like you have to acknowledge that.
They went on hang gliders and killed hundreds and thousands of people, and you won't condemn it. This wasn't a military operation. It was to target and kill as many civilians as possible.
They've killed hundreds
And then
of thousands
boast
of
about
people.
Hundreds and thousands.
Sorry, I'm
It keeps
sorry.
going up every hour, so I don't know what the exact count
I
is.
misheard, but I just think that
Will you condemn terrorism? You're on the mic, you're on camera, you're a professor. Will you condemn terrorism?
I'm not. This conversation is
It's a
not
yes or
actually.
no question.
It's not a yes or no question. This is.
You think terrorism is justified if it's against Jews? Is that what you're saying?
So that's putting words in my mouth, as you know.
I'm asking you to say yes or no, and you can't do it. You're a professor. You're smart enough to know this. Why can't you condemn terrorism?
Yeah, you're a professor. You're smart enough to know it. I'll say it again. Only an advanced degree in a liberal arts college in America can make you this morally stupid. And to suggest it's not a yes or no question. No, actually, it is very much a yes or no question. Do you condemn terrorism? That's all. My God, we've come a long way since November 12th, 2001, haven't we? A little bit more of this.
Well, listen.
Don't give me some long answer that means nothing. Say yes or no. Will you condemn terrorism?
Well, that's just like a coercive way of trying to
not
talk to me.
coercive.
Yes,
You're
it
putting
is.
this person in a position where if they say anything, you're going to twist it and you're going to wrap it
How
around.
can I twist that?
You're doing it to me right now. Shut the up while I talk, okay? Like, do that for once.
For any human
Okay?
being with a soul to
You
answer.
are literally putting people in a position while there's a camera on and a mic in my face right now to get people to say something that's going to make you look good and your
It makes
side of
me look
whatever
good
this
that you
is look
condemn
good.
terrorism. I condemn terrorism.
Go
by
on.
anyone.
Talk all you
I
want
completely
because you're
condemn
incriminating
terrorism.
yourself, man.
I
Go
condemn
on. Do your
terrorism
thing.
entirely.
But you don't condemn.
All right. There's more to it. It's pretty amazing. But that line of thinking right there, we'll watch a little bit more. But that line of thinking right there, well, you're putting her in an impossible situation where you can just twist whatever she says. It's a coercive question. Do you condemn terrorism? Is the question on the table right now. How do you twist the answer to that? Or you're just going to say something that makes you look good. Just say, I condemn terrorism. You have to think to yourself, how morally bankrupt are American colleges right now, where a professor believes that it would put her in a compromising position if she says, yes, I condemn terrorism. Is it too late to homeschool your kids in college?
the IDF has done to the Palestinian people.
The IDF doesn't target civilians.
That is not true. So first, I have to constantly, assure that, like, look, I don't support Israel. I don't support Israel, and also I am Jewish. I'm a proud Jewish person. Like, they both exist. As part of that, I think that, and something that's difficult for me about this question too is Netanyahu, and we were just talking about this. Netanyahu has made weapons deals with some of the most anti-Semitic governments in the world. Yeah, not just Hungary. He has also made weapons deals with countries that literally execute people for being gay, right? So Netanyahu has no moral ground whatsoever.
Netanyahu's the problem here because he made weapons deals with countries that execute people for being gay. Yeah, countries like Iran, the country that funded the Hamas terror attacks that she won't call a terror attack. Seriously, homeschool your kids, like all the way through their doctorate.